guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Olivia from The Writing Theory, and in case no one has told you yet, that last sentence you wrote was pretty sharp. Today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm thinking about a bit of a vlogging style because it's NaNoWriMo. I wanted to give you a bit of an update in case you were interested. You're probably not, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So get comfy. I'm comfy. I got my tea here. There's nothing in it. Hold on. Okay, now I've got my tea. Holy crap, this is hot. Now I got my tea and we could talk. So how's NaNoWriMo been for you? It's already, what is it? Day 10? 10? Yeah, day 10. And so far been pretty good, Keeping up with the daily goals, you know. So not too bad at all. I had initially thought of doing a post-apocalyptic story, one that I did 2 years ago for the NaNoWriMo I won then. I wanted to kind of redo it because it was very messy, because I didn't have an outline then. And I wanted to learn from my mistakes and do it properly this time and everything. So I went through all of Preptober. I kind of did an outline and everything, and then of course I did what I always do. I changed my mind at the very last minute and I decided to do an epic fantasy instead, which is an idea that's been going around in my head for quite a while, and I never kind of sit down and start doing it just because it's really, I don't know, I think the scientific term for it is ginormous. I thought that maybe NaNoWriMo would be a good opportunity to finally sit down and do it. I don't really have a good outline for it. I have somewhat of an outline for it, which is better than nothing, to be honest. That's already a step forward for me. I think the problem I'm having now is that I am writing, I'm getting the goals, you know, done. I'm moving forward and everything, so that's a good thing. But due to the fact that it's just such a big piece, and to be honest, I think it'll probably be a trilogy, obviously, like everything, I feel like I'm still kind of not moving forward, like I'm kind of stuck in place. So I didn't have that feeling with the post-apocalyptic one because it was a much shorter story, and so every time I wrote a chapter, every time even I just wrote those famous 1,667 words, I felt like I was moving forward. I saw the story go forward. While here, I just feel like I'm kind of spinning my wheels a bit. So that's a little bit, I wouldn't say it's discouraging, but it is a little bit irritating. Maybe I'll put it that way. Because you put that effort in sometimes. Sometimes I have good days where I'll write it really, really fast. And I'll really just breeze through it. And other days I'll have a worse day and those 1,667 words come out in a couple of hours, and I feel like I really put in a lot of effort and I've been sitting there for hours and I feel like the story hasn't moved forward a single millimeter. I sometimes feel like a piece of me is getting impatient to move forward. I just want to get to the next scene and the next scene and the next scene, because if you sit at a, you know, on a scene for too long, I just start to get bored with it. I don't know if you guys have the same. Let me know in the comments that if you spend too long on a scene, do you start getting bored with it enough that you just impatiently want to move on to the next scene and just be done with it? You're just kind of like, yeah, whatever, the end, you know, and then just move on to the next thing. Because I mean, how long can you write about one thing? I mean, for real. So that's the one, I think that's the thing I'm struggling with the most. But other than that, it's going well, I think, for the most part. And yeah, and a couple of times I've had this kind of thing happen, and that I happen to really like, where I'll have ideas pop up in the middle of writing, having to do with something that I've either written or will write in the future, that are better than the things that I've put down in the outline. And then I quickly note those down, and you know, and I'm really happy with that these ideas pop into my head. And I found that while writing, I get better ideas for writing than when I'm not writing, if that makes any sense. That I'm somehow more inspired and more creative and more imaginative about the scenes in my writing while I'm writing, even if I'm writing something else, but while I'm in the act and process of writing, than when I'm doing anything else, to be honest. So, and also, write down in the comments, do you guys have the same thing, or is that just me? I'm sure it's not me, just me. I can't be alone in this, but I wonder if you guys have the same thing. Are you inspired while doing the craft of writing, or are you inspired more when you're doing something else and your brain is just kind of, you know, gallivanting around in fields of wildflowers or whatever? I mentioned that I have an outline, but the outline is not finished because obviously, since I changed my mind at the last minute, I didn't get to doing an entire outline all nice and purty. So it's a bit of a mess. It's just a very rough draft of an outline. So what I thought is that I will kind of write the outline while I'm writing the story, hopefully. That's a real big hopefully. Thankfully, the beginning of the outline is written relatively well. It's relatively detailed. It's towards the middle and the end that it gets more and more vague. So I was hoping that as I write the story, more and more ideas will pop into my head, more and more, you know, situations will kind of unravel, more and more things will become clear, more and more questions will be answered, and kind of ideas and solutions will just kind of reveal themselves, and then I'll just note those down and weave them in to the structure. That's what I'm hoping will happen. That is most likely not what's going to happen, but you know, that's what's going to happen. You know, that's what happens. That's what happens, basically. That's the whole joy of writing, right? Is the absolute dumpster fire that comes out. And that's actually one of the things I'm trying to learn, or I'm trying to remind myself in this whole process, is that it's a first draft and it's supposed to be an absolute piece of crap. Because it is a piece of crap. I can tell. I'm writing it and I'm just sitting there, and part of me is like, oh my god, just stop. It's terrible. Just please just don't write another word. You should not ever write again. And I have to stop myself and think, okay, you know what? This isn't, you know, Margaret Atwood level material, but it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. What I'm supposed to do is get this stuff out on the page. What I'm supposed to do is tell a certain story. And then later, when we get into editing and, you know, writing the second, the third, and the fourth drafts and so on and so forth, that's the time for making it, you know, pretty. Right now, I'm supposed to get the bare bones down, right? And a skeleton doesn't look pretty, but that's what I'm getting down. I'm putting down kind of like a skeleton, more or less, let's say, for the sake of this metaphor, right? And I'm trying to remind myself of that this is not the finished book. So it's a bit of a it's a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, to be honest, when you're writing and you see this just these awful things that are just terrible coming out sometimes. But on the other hand, sometimes you go on to the next paragraph and you'll write it and you're like, yeah, you know what, this isn't so bad. This isn't so bad, you know, it's not that terrible. Okay, you know, great. Okay, let's move on. Let's keep going. And then the next thing comes out is just total shite, you know. And then the next one is like, oh, better. And you know, it's just this absolute roller coaster where you come out at the end and you have no idea, and somebody asks you, you know, like, so how was it? As you know, if like your friends or family know you're doing NaNoWriMo, and they're like, so how was your writing today? And you have no idea what to say, because it was bad and terrible and frustrating and brilliant and beautiful and amazing and eye-opening and terrifying and irritating and depressing all at the same time. And basically and you end up saying is, oh yeah, it was fine. It was good, you know. And it's just, it's funny when you think about it. I don't know if you signed up for the on the NaNoWriMo website. I did this year, but when it asks you to update your progress, it asks you how you're feeling, and it gives you those little emojis. And I never click on those because I don't know, because I feel all of those things at the same time. I don't know if you guys have that, but I have like a very hard time. It's like, I feel like it's like an IQ test question or something. Like, I don't know how I feel. I feel like all of these things, none of these things. I don't know. Sometimes I'm just glad I got the word count done, and I just don't want to look at it anymore. I'm just like, get it out of my face. I'm just finished today. Go away, you know? And sometimes I want to keep writing. I don't want to do this update. I don't have time for this crap. I want to keep writing, you know, don't ask me questions. So it's funny. It's funny. Yeah, so day 10, that's like what? 1/3 of the way in. Not too bad. A little bit worried that there might be a kind of like a mid-month sag. But we'll see, because I've already noticed that I do not have the kind of rush that I had at the beginning of NaNoWriMo the last time I did it. I had this real super huge rush of like excitement going just racing at the beginning, and then I had the sag in the middle, and I really struggled near the end. But then at like the last, let's say 5 days or something, it was another rush because I knew I was near the end and I knew I could make it. This time it's been a really mixed bag. You know, one day it'll be really great, the next day is just terrible. I have no idea why. It doesn't seem to have any reason to it, to be honest. So it looks like probably most of it will just be this kind of mixed bag, I guess. Maybe, I'm thinking it's because of the magnitude of the story, just the length, the whole just breadth of the story is just too big. I might have bit off a little bit more than I could chew this time, but that's how I roll, so, you know, still gonna do it anyway. But yeah, how are you guys doing? How are your stories coming along? Is it your first NaNoWriMo? Is it your second, third, 150th? If it's your 150th, then definitely comment, because that is commendable. I'm proud of you. I want to know your name. I'll send you a chocolate cake. There. But yeah, comment down below how your NaNoWriMo is going, how your story's going, what are you writing, how's it going, how are you feeling, are you optimistic? Keep up that optimism, because that's important. But just remember, it like, seriously, you know, you're not writing Nobel Prize winning literature right now. You just you're writing it, right? You're writing it, and it's gonna be a piece of crap. It's gonna be a steaming pile of horse manure. But that's kind of the point. You're supposed to just get it out, you know? And then you can sit and start to make it pretty and accessorize and all that other fun stuff. That's for other months. Now you're just supposed to write it and focus on that, and the rest will come later. It's a time-consuming process, unfortunately. I should have made my tea earlier. God, I can't drink hot tea. It's too hot. Ugh, I have to wait hours. Maybe not hours, but you know, it feels like hours. But yeah. So you guys have an awesome NaNoWriMo. I will check back in with you guys maybe in 10 days again. That sounds like a great marker. Keep writing. Have a great day. Bye-bye.